Hey there, my name is Brian. I was invited by Mike Sears to do this 10 questions for Tucson musicians, so here we go. So I think I started singing when I was in elementary school, in Massachusetts, early elementary school. It wasn't until we moved to Arizona and in Scottsdale where I started playing musical instruments. I played the saxophone in 5th grade and played it for just that year, and it wasn't really until I got into middle school and high school where I started singing more regularly and playing the guitar as well. So my primary things that I do is I'm a vocalist and I play the electric and acoustic guitar. In terms of things that I play a little bit, I also play the bass and play the piano and drums a little bit, like well enough, I guess. In terms of things that I own that are in the house that are musical instruments, I have, in addition to those things, I have a banjo and a ukulele and a trumpet, and I guess I can make noise with some of those things, but you don't want me to do that. I think my worst gig was back in high school. We were doing this event at the school outside. We were singing I Want You Back by the Jackson 5, and I just did not put the work in, either learning the lyrics or knowing how to sing it or playing the guitar. It was really a mess and pretty embarrassing. So that's probably the worst that it's been so far. I think my best gig is relatively recent. Back in 2017, I was asked to be a part of the Class of '67. It's this concert series where we do music from 50 years ago. So it's all great songs from 1967, and there's a lot of that. And I find it was like my first experience of being able to kind of be in front of a band. I got to sing with Crystal Stark, who's amazing, and so just got to spend a lot of time with pretty excellent musicians doing something incredible. We got to do a small tour across the state, so it was a lot of work. I had to learn a lot of music really fast, but it was an excellent experience. It was very, very fun. So I'm interpreting this question as who are you having a crush on musically in terms of like their talent. So for that I will take Eric Clapton. He was somebody that when I was getting into classic rock I really kind of fell in love with. I like that he is both an incredible musician, like performer, technically a great guitar player, but also a very gifted songwriter and a great collaborator. He's kind of from Babyface in the 90s to working with Cream and Blind Faith and the Beatles. He did all this incredible stuff. So he seems to be both a gifted musician as well as somebody that people want to spend time with. I think from the performing side would be Aerosmith and Guns N' Roses. When I was getting into that kind of classic rock 80s stuff in high school, they're the bands that really stood out, both because I loved their songs, but I also loved their frontman. I know Axl Rose is complicated, but he's just an engaging, entertaining performer. And Steven Tyler, I have an affinity for, also being from Boston, but just watching him work the crowd, he always is on. And what I think is really impressive is despite all of their issues throughout their kind of 40, 50 years of being a band, Aerosmith has stayed with the same lineup for almost the entire time. I think that's really impressive. So those are my probably two biggest influences. For this, I will confess that I really like Rae Jepson. I think she writes incredible pop music. She's got 3 great albums. She's a gifted performer. I listened to a podcast where she talked about her process of both writing and producing, and she is writing some really interesting pop music right now, and I think she's definitely worth a listen. So I guess this is a problem being from the Southwest or living in the Southwest for a long time, but I just never really got into country music. I think some of it is great. I absolutely love Johnny Cash, but in terms of modern pop country music, that is just not my scene. My musical talent in 3 words is always on time. I think the thing that I tried to cultivate as a performer and as a musician is being somebody reliable that you want to spend time with, and so that is what I focus on, is being prepared, being on time, being a good coworker, because really when you're making music and you're performing, you're in kind of tight spaces with people for an extended period of time, and the way I figure is I want to be the best person to spend time with. I want to be somebody that you want to look back on like, oh, I liked Brian, he was good, he certainly was there on time and knew his stuff, so let's hire him again. So for my trip to Mars, the 5 albums I'm going to take, I'm going to start with Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder. It is a double album, it is incredible, has great songs on it. And my history with this album is when I was a kid, my parents had this on vinyl and I would listen to it in my bedroom. And then when I went to college, I was like, I can't go to college without Songs in the Key of Life, but I can't bring my turntable. So I rebought it on CD to bring it with me when I went down to the University of Arizona. And so it is an important album to me, and I will make sure I have it for my trip to Mars. My second album is Bleed American by Jimmy Eat World. In the last few years, I've become a really big fan of Jimmy Eat World. They're an Arizona band, and they're incredible. They've made all sorts of great music, and Bleed American is just their signature album. It's got all the hits. It is just kind of front to back an incredible piece of music, and I will bring that with me. My third album is kind of a cheat because it's a compilation. It is the Almost Famous soundtrack. It has great music from the 60s and 70s. It also has some original score music by Nancy Wilson. There's a fictitious band in the movie, and there's some songs by them as well. Just a great compilation album with the Allman Brothers and Elton John and David Bowie, and as well as those other things that I mentioned. I absolutely love it, and so I will bring that with me. Oh, my next album, my fourth album, is the self-titled Tenacious D album. It is a great comedy rock album. Jack Black and the crew are amazing, and that's something I want to listen to and laugh, and so I know that song, I can sing that whole album front to back, so that's what I want to bring with me. My last album is Give Up by the Postal Service. The Postal Service is a side project by Ben Gibbard from Death Cab for Cutie, where he did this kind of electronic album that's really soulful, thoughtful, electronic music, and one of the songs, Such Great Heights, was the first dance at my wedding. So I want to bring that with me as well. So I want to thank Mike for inviting me to do this, and I hope everybody's staying safe out there.